Cedar Rapids Police Department and Animal Care and Control are being recognized by the Humane Society of the United States for the humane enforcement of animal protection laws. This award is given when an officer or group takes leadership in action involving animal abuse cases. Iowa State Director of the Humane Society of the United States, Preston Moore, said Cedar Rapids has multiple officers handling animal cruelty cases, including investigator Chris Collins, who has offered his expertise to agencies throughout the state. Moore said that Cedar Rapids has shown outstanding support for protecting animals.
In 2020, when we passed the Animal Cruelty Code upgrades, the Cedar Rapids Police Department and the officers here I know talked to lawmakers and expressed why it was important. The prosecutor team in Lynn County did the same thing. Officers from around the state, I think, speaking up about the cruelty code is what made it happen. And then when we passed it, we saw right away the Cedar Rapids Police Department take initiative and put it into practice. Officer Collins at the time definitely took on some tough cases that would not have been prosecutable previously under the old code, and that's why we highlighted him last year. And then since then, Officer Collins and others throughout the department, all the way up to the chief, have really made this a priority in the city. They are making sure that not only animals are safe, but also the people in our communities are safe.
Cedar Rapids Police Department enforces state codes, whereas Animal Care and Control enforces city ordinances. Animal Care and Control commonly conducts animal welfare checks, responds to dog bite incidents and animals running at large, as well as hoarding cases. Kelly is the program manager, and when she started 14 years ago, they were fighting the image of the dog catcher.
We're not here to be the bad guys, just to remove animals and to catch strays. Everybody that works here has a heart of gold, and they want what is best for those animals. Whether it be educating pet parents, seizing animals and adopting them out, or getting them the medical care that they need.
There are not many municipalities in the state that actually operate their own shelter, their own animal control agencies. Even Lynn County relies on the nonprofit Cedar Valley Humane Society to contract with law enforcement to house these animals. I'm just really proud of both Cedar Rapids Police Department and Animal Care and Control here. Really proud to be able to present the award to both of them.
I got in contact with Preston Moore through some outside advocacy that I do, and he said, hey, he got with me and explained that there were new state codes. I think that was around like 2018, and asked if I'd be interested. So my partner and I at the time had went to the Humane Society Animal Abuse, Animal Neglect course. Since then, I've been the person that investigates these. So I've helped other agencies with like livestock or other kind of maybe the stuff, but in Cedar Rapids, it's mostly been domesticated.
Investigator Collins said the abuse cases he sees typically receive charges.
The good work we're seeing in the Cedar Rapids Police Department is already spreading throughout the state. We have been able to work with agencies around the state and hold a couple of different trainings. What these trainings do is just show law enforcement and prosecutors how to use the code that's in front of them. A lot of people might be surprised, but when we pass new laws in Iowa, it's not like police departments get a bulletin to say, hey, here's a new law and here's how to use it. It requires a great deal of education, continuing education for both law enforcement and the prosecutors throughout the state. Since we've seen the Cedar Rapids Police Department take a big initiative on this, we've also started seeing agencies around us really move the needle forward. We've seen Lynn County Sheriff Department handle a couple of cases in cooperation with Cedar Rapids Police, but also on their own. Marion Police Department had a pretty serious case with a malnourished dog earlier this year, and I believe investigator Collins was able to kind of talk them through that. And then we also see some bigger cases pretty far removed from the area. Recently there was a case in Washington County involving hundreds and hundreds of farm animals, and investigator Collins was able to talk to the deputy on scene there and just coach them through essentially the basics of the investigations into an animal case. What evidence do you need? What photos do you need? What needs to be documented? And then how do the animals get removed?
Both Kelly and Moore said that in terms of legislation, there's more work to be done.
We are behind the times. I know a part of that is because we are a big agricultural state, so legislation has to balance the needs of egg versus what would consider a pet. There has to be some way that we can improve our laws and still have protections in place for everyone.
I think the most important thing that is missing in Iowa's cruelty code is the lack of an automatic felony charge for the crime of animal torture. Animal torture is defined in Iowa as repeated, prolonged abuse that causes really immense suffering or death. And right now, the state of Iowa is the only state that charges that crime as a misdemeanor charge for the first offense. Repeat offenders can be charged with a felony, but this is a very serious and violent crime. And I think that is still a big lingering piece of the code that does need to be fixed. It's something that we've advocated for years and will continue to advocate for. But even in the absence of that code, we've been able to successfully work with agencies like the Cedar Rapids Police Department to use the code that we do have as effectively as they can use it. And that's why I think we've seen the Cedar Rapids Police Department really increase the number of cases they have worked on in this area. It's not necessarily because there are more cases, it's simply because they now have the tools to go after these offenders.